Not Thursday night mission flight, it's Wednesday night. And I'm your host of Oscar Mike Radio, Travis, Marine Corps veteran, joined by, in a collaborative effort for the first time ever, Michael Geary, Army veteran with Hellfish Haven. And we're at war, literally war. Michael, tell us what that is.
So we started a peer support group a few months back. Then I got really sick and had to put it on hiatus. And coming back with the new year and my health getting better, I was just thinking, this is just more resilience that we've got. And, I felt like that would be a perfect name for what we're working with here is we are resilient. War.
Man, I love it. I love it. One thing that I kind of want to start off with that, I'm seeing and hearing a whole lot is there's a group of veterans who are like, I don't know why my fellow veterans are having problems. They're all just whiny crybabies. Why can't they be like me and be savage? And then there's some veterans who are like, hey man, I've really lost my way. I was that warrior in the military. Now I've lost my way. And I don't think the answer is as black and white as, it could be. But there is something that happens when, we kind of lose it. Or am I just oversimplifying that too much?
No, absolutely. I was medically retired after 13 years in, and that, went from having the career that I loved and, I'd gone on 4 tours and I couldn't get enough of it. And then all of a sudden to be forced out and then it's a loss of identity, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with is, you have so many people around you and so much support, and then all of a sudden you're alone.
That's the thing, right? Is you're alone. And hey, if you're watching this right now, my name is Travis. I'm with Michael from Hellfish Haven. We're talking about resilience, but that is a core like component in our thing of being alone.
And I mean, for me, like the best thing that helped me out was through COVID, the Specialist Planning Foundation and Hidden Battles got me in touch with Operation Delta Dog. And I was able to get a service dog, Jose. He's going to be willing to get on screen here.
Nice.
Making his bed a little more comfortable right now. But he has definitely, been a huge asset to me in getting back out there and reestablishing myself.
We go through these times, right? We go through these times and you can be alone, but then you find these groups to be a part of, right? What's it like when we find these groups? Because for me, I feel alone sometimes. I'm always like, what's this person trying to do to me? What's the deal with this person? Is it a good deal? It's hard to find people you can really be like yourself with.
And it's definitely hard too because as soon as you leave the service, you had these tight knit connections with a lot of people, and then life happens. People want to be married, the kids, and they're not able to spend as much time as you did before. Hanging out in the barracks or going out on the weekends, and then you know you kind of put up a wall to defend yourself, to you kind of keep people arm's length away from you at all times instead of welcoming them into your circle as quickly as we did with the trial by fire.
So, just to educate the people here, what do you do with Hellfish Haven? Give us a little backstory on that.
Yeah. So I was living in the Somerville Veteran Shelter, Mass Bay Veteran Center in Somerville, run by Volunteers of America. And I was seeing that I was spending 23 hours a day just sitting in a room by myself, and just the isolation wasn't healthy. It wasn't helping me personally, and it was causing me more stress than anything. And I tried to see if maybe going to the VFW would help, but there was a lot of drinking there, and I wasn't at the right space in my life at that point to be sitting at a bar and be slamming down beers with the older guys. And so I stepped back from that, and I really thought what's missing in the the veteran service, area, and it's a safe, sober environment for veterans to gather and to rebuild their community. We have the bars that we can go to, but we also need a place where we can go to that's sober, that doesn't have the temptations of drinking, that doesn't interfere with people's recovery or their mental health symptoms or things like that, where they can just be themselves in an environment and have fun together. So one half of the office is a community center. We've got video games, board games, cards, gentle yoga, uh, coloring books, anything. We've had families come in, fathers and sons, wives, husbands, and then on the other side we have a computer lab across the courtyard from us at Brighton Marine. Is 30 guys that were previously homeless, and we've actually worked with them too, teaching them how to use their iPads that they were given during COVID, giving them one-on-one lessons to be able to use it instead of having this big paperweight in their room. And so I wanted to make sure that we were in a place close enough to a place that I was in, where I was in Somerville, and this one's in Brighton, but it's almost the same scenario. And I just wanted to be able to give back to those guys and then branch out from there and open up to more veterans as we grow.
I think that's one thing that I like, and why what you said connected with me is there's this aspect of, hey, I got this problem. I'm going to take some sort of action to work through it. And I'm all about action. And by taking these actions and serving others, you actually got, on track to what you wanted to do. I think it's pretty amazing. So look, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If you click on the link, will you be put into a staging area? If you get in the staging area and it works out, we'll let you into the stream and you can say hello to us real quick. Again, this is our first time doing this. We're feeling this out. So you're part of the show whether you like it or not. The links in the.
We definitely want people to know that it's a peer project here. We want people to be interactive and to let us know what's going on and to share their stories and let people know that it's not just you and I, that it's there's a lot of us out there that are dealing with these issues, and together I think we are better and able to come up with solutions.
Well, that's part of it, right? Is you got to be open to working together with other people. You can't be lone wolf through this. If you're going to be successful or understand what success is, you got to be able to be part of that fire team, be part of that squad to make things happen. I think a lot of us lose that sometimes when we get out and we're not in our platoon anymore.
Mm-hmm. And it's easy too, because a lot of guys, they get out and they're like, I don't want to do anything with the military at all. I saw it with the Legion when I was the commander down in Foxborough. A lot of guys, wait, 10, 15 years, and then they start reconnecting with the service organizations, and then they start, using their VA benefits. And it's like, these things they can use instantly, and they can be part of these organizations as soon as they get out. But a lot of guys are, burnt out from the military too, and I can understand that.
Well, hey, Michael, I've got my VSO from Abington, Adam Gunn. I'm going to bring him into the chat now. And there he is. Chief, how's it going?
How's it going? Hi, Michael. Travis.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, it's great that you're here tonight. We're trying this thing out. Michael and I have met and connected, and it's kind of cool you're here, Adam. Adam approached me about things to do to bring vets in, and it's kind of interesting. You mentioned something that a person will get out of the military and wait 10 to 15 years to get back into it. What can we do to kind of shorten that window to say maybe a year or 6 months or even right away? I'm really curious what you think about that.
I know one of the things that is going on right now, they have the ETS sponsorship program. And as guys leave the military, they're connected. I actually have a guy that I'm a sponsor with right now. He's getting out of the service in the next 8 months. And I'm already working with him to develop plans that he wants to do to get him enrolled in the VA, to get him, a head start, almost like he's PCSing to a different base. And, I'm welcoming him to the new base. instead of, now more welcoming into, the veteran life instead of the active duties that he's currently in.
Nice. Adam, first of all, Adam is a Navy veteran, retired, and he's a veteran service officer for the town of Abington, and very involved in the community. Coming into Abington, and it's just one city out of many in the Commonwealth, what are you seeing for veterans, or when you talk to veterans in Abington, what are you hearing, Adam?
Well, it's one of the reasons I was so excited to be here tonight. And as Michael, just one of the problems we have is, we can reach as veteran service officers, we're reaching the retired veterans, the ones that aren't working any longer, the ones that are volunteering out in the community, the ones that are, possibly going to the VFW and the American Legion and having beers. But I'm having difficulty. We are having difficulty reaching the younger veterans and trying to find a solution to bring them in and get them involved and provide help that's out there. Now, what do you recommend? I mean, what's worked for you so far?
Some of the things I've seen, the silky hikes are big, right? The guys, going out there and doing the silky hikes in Boston, or they're down Connecticut sometimes. They bounce around. That's run by irreverent warriors. They get a big following every time they do one of those. Team Red, White, and Blue, Boston. They've got a good following. Do a lot of. It seems like a lot of like physical activity, a lot of giving back. Whether you've got Rubicon or the Mission Continues, it seems like the veterans are finding their own little spot and their little niche that works for them, and going to that instead of going to the post and then developing from there. It's almost like the internet has given them a place to find their own home without that. And I think maybe a virtual presence will be a good start, and then reaching out and doing activities that like are family based, because a lot of these guys don't want to go to because it's just for the male veterans, or it's just for older veterans. They wouldn't need something that a young kid can be at and jump in the bouncy house. I went to a event for Hidden Battles up in Northern Mass, right on the New Hampshire border, and they had the front house, they had clowns painting faces, and they all sorts of stuff. And then on the other side, they had the auctions going on for Hidden Battles, raising funds for the suicide awareness and everything, and all the programs that they do. They do a lot of cooking classes, fly fishing, like just a lot of interactive programs, and it seems like those are having a lot of success with the G1.
I think there's got to be something for the younger guys and families. That's one thing that, Adam, I do hear is it's like, hey, I can't take my 18-month-old and toddler to the VFW and to the bar area. It won't work, right? And then, on the times I do have my wife with me, it'd really be cool if there were other wives around. So I don't know how to solve that problem right here, right now, but it definitely, it's a theme I've heard often, where we have that family thing. And then, I want to tell my older veterans, I'm like, hey, my older brothers and sisters, and, I'm considered young in some of these groups, Adam and Michael, and I'm not the young guy anymore, right? But I want to tell, somebody who's 60, 70 years old, hey, us younger guys, gals, would love to hear your stories and your wisdom. I mean, there's a whole lot you can learn. So I think it's a combination of those two things right now.
And that's really one of those special things about the posts that are nice, is being able to sit down with a World War II veteran and hear stories, and and to be able to actually hear a first-hand account of these things that you learned in class, and these things that you saw on TV. And like, we weren't part of that. We had our own battles and we had our own time in the service, but it's just amazing to like see how it's transformed from where it was to where it is now. And it's even changing since I got out in 2014. It's really different now.
It is. I mean, one of the stigmas we have to get past is getting the word out that the legions and the VFWs aren't just the drinking, smoking environments anymore. that they're out in the community, they're supporting the community, they're supporting veterans, they're supporting ceremonies. They are definitely doing other things. It's something we've got to figure out how to get past.
And they're definitely the best advocates too for us down in Washington. That's the major purpose of these veteran service organizations, and the main reason the membership is so important is because we have that larger voice when we have the representation from the VFWs and the Legions, helping us out down there, like with the PACT Act.
Yes, another big thing is connecting with the veterans within 5, 6 years, 10 years of getting out, rather than waiting. Because the longer you wait, the harder it is to connect the dots with with your disability and proving that it was service connected. So it's really important. We got to find ways to reach these veterans and let them know there's free help and veteran service officers in every city and town in Massachusetts.
Well, and Adam, can you just touch on Chapter 115 real quick? Because that is the most amazing program ever, that I've ever learned about and seen about, and I've helped guys get on because it's a lifesaver.
It is. I'm quickly Googling the website, which I'm sure Travis can put up. But if you go to Google, I just walked somebody through this today, and type in Massachusetts Chapter 115. I hate to use Google, but it works if you do it this order. The first thing that should come up, 115, we'll do this together here, is the Massachusetts Chapter 115 calculator. And that's the easiest way for somebody to find out if they qualify for Chapter 115. And it's MassVet, BEN for benefits, massvetben.org.
Right in the chat there.
Wonderful. So Chapter 115, primarily what it's known for, it can be for veterans or widows who meet certain income criteria. It's approximately $2,200 a month right now for a single veteran. I don't have the information in front of me for married, but there are different income limits. And then there are also asset limits. A house, one car, they don't count against your assets. It's bank accounts, things like that. So if you are 200% on the federal poverty level, you may qualify for Chapter 115. And what it does for a lot of the veterans who are living on Social Security and maybe a small retirement check, it reimburses them medical expenses. So, and obviously those can be expensive. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Medicare B, Medicare D, prescription costs, all those get reimbursed from the town, directly coming back from the Department of Veteran Services. It also works for younger veterans. If you have a job and you are laid off, talk to your veteran service officer. That you can work through them to really help financially. In Abington, every veteran service officer does it different, but in Abington, we work through job searches together. We set you up with the Department of Massachusetts Career Centers, and you turn in weekly job searches. And if you follow through with those job searches and we work together, you can also get financial support.
Now, Adam, have you heard of the Greater Boston Veterans Collaborative?
I have not. I'm writing that down.
Collaborate.vet is their website, and they are a wonderful resource. Bob Notch used to be in charge at Bright Marine. He runs the Veterans Collaborative. He and I were in Bunker Labs together this past cohort, and both nonprofits working together. They've been able to work with us, and where they're a little bit bigger and more refined. Like, they got a grant from the Bob Woodruff Foundation that gave out a bunch of grocery gift cards. But since they don't have the link to the one-on-one people like we do, they were able to distribute to organizations like Hellfish Haven and others that are dealing with the veterans in the community. And we were able to get these grocery gift cards out to people as the prices are rising. It's been hitting people's wallets tough. So we were able to give some relief over the fall to some veteran families out there and get them some groceries.
That's excellent. Also, people forget about the food pantries in almost every single town. I mean, at least the one in Abington, you can walk in there, and all you have to do is show them an ID or something that shows you're, from Abington, and if you let them know you're a veteran, you're not going to leave there without 2 hands full of groceries.
How big is food insecurity for veterans on the South Shore, Adam?
I think people get by, especially veterans get by with whatever they have to. Whether young or old, a lot of them are suffering and getting by and making do with what they can. But I don't know if it's something in us that is just proudness, stubbornness, all the above. But if you're struggling, there's help out there. I mean, there's veteran service officers in every single town in Massachusetts that want to help. There are resources. There's so many organizations out there. We just have to get past our stubbornness and thick-headedness and ask for help.
Ooh, that ask for help thing, that's hard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even, we carry around the cards, and we have, everything from, when you're in the service, the fight isn't just on the battlefield. We've got the stop the continual, sexual harassment and the safe helplines, and even, 988, becoming to existence last summer. Instead of the 1-800 number for the Veterans Crisis Line, you now just have to dial 988 and then press 1 and you're connected. And, that is a huge asset to, people struggling with mental health, because now instead of, dealing with, a paramedic or a fireman or a police officer, you're dealing with a mental health professional that's able to talk to you and, work with you while you're, dealing with a crisis, or while you're, pre-crisis. And I feel like more people, instead of waiting till you get to that boiling point and then calling, it's okay to, come in, stop by the Haven and talk to one of us, or, to chat with a friend and tell them, hey, I'm having a funky day, and get it out before you get to that crisis. And, we do a lot of working on people when they're, drowning, but we just need to teach people how to swim too.
Well, I mean, the purpose of this time on Wednesday nights, and we're seeing how this goes, it is for this right here. You have a qualified, certified veteran professional and a VSO like Adam Gunn giving us, what his perspective is serving the community. You have another person in Michael Geary, who is running his own nonprofit and has, demonstrated ways that something simple as a board game or Uno cards or Mario Kart can get somebody from being self-isolated, self-medicating, and this whole space is for that. So, this is really grassroots what we're trying to do. You might be sick and tired of looking at Zoom videos and stuff like this, which is why we got all the cool little graphics going on here. I don't know about you all, but I like the Hellfish Haven logo. And
Yes.
that's, hey, you know what? Tell us where did that come from, Michael? Because that is cool. Like, it's unique. When I see the angry fish there, I know something's going to happen.
Yeah. So, Grandpa Simpson's World War II unit was the Flying Hellfish. And when I got to, name my squad on my 3rd tour in Iraq, I couldn't go with anything but Helfish. So we named the squad Helfish, and then the tattoo of it.
That's awesome.
And then so there's 4 of us in the squad that have the tattoo. So if you look down when I was sitting there, you can see it on everybody's forearm down the row. And then when it came time to creating this safe space, the Haven, as soon as I said the word Haven, I was like, it's got to be Hellfish Haven. And I talked to an artist in Connecticut, ERJ yourself on Instagram and Facebook. And he's the one that actually developed the logo for me, the one with the tattoos first. And then I sterilized it for the 2nd year to make it easier to go on to things, because it was really tough to the little small details to be able to transfer it onto documents and to be able to share it. So we sterilized that and made it. He did a second version of it too, which was the Mortal Kombat version. Let's see if I can share it here.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Where we're working with gaming, he was able to do a Mortal Kombat Hellfish as well.
Is it bad that I just had Mortal Kombat in my head?
Oh, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
And like this board is where I started. I started going to different veteran functions, and just I had the board with me and a mission statement, and I would show people an 8-page PowerPoint, and this is what I wanted to do. And then finally I talked to a couple of friends and said, hey, I need to start renting a space and build this, because it's easier to show people by welcoming them into the space than to describe it, because it's hard to, in translation, to lose it. But when they come into the Haven and they see the camo netting on the ceiling, and then they see what it can be, taking an office space and turning it into a community center. It's it's really been very enjoyable to do.
Adam, I got a question for you. You've come out of the Navy, chief, retired. What's it been like? Chiefs are the boss, right? We all know that. But you take that and you come to a community on the South Shore and continue service. How has that made your transition, and how has Abington been to you in terms of helping you support veterans?
Travis, my path is a little different than most, I think, because I was a career counselor in the Navy. So I guided people. My job was to help transition sailors out of the Navy, help them with goals and education. Most of the time I gave a lot of great advice, and sometimes it was really challenging to take that advice. So when I got out, I already knew who my veteran service officer was before I got out and retired from the Navy. I reached out. I told them I wanted their job, and they said they loved it. And fat chance. But they helped mentor me as well. I think that was my biggest saving grace, was finding a good mentor when I got out, and he helped train me and tell me what I need to learn to start my one passion now, a veteran service officer, taking care of veterans. So my path is a little bit easier, but if you don't mind, Travis, I'd love to turn it back over to Michael a little bit. I'm curious about how it was for you when you started that, and what kind of age group you're seeing since you've been since you've had the space open.
So like I said, when we first got into the space, the first guys we wanted to deal with were the guys across the courtyard. We wanted to deal with those 30 vets that were previously homeless, and we wanted to engage and work with them any way that we could. We had the computer lab available for, education, employment, veteran benefits, medical appointments, whatever they needed it for. And we got word from Bright Marine staff that they needed an iPad literacy course. And so what we did is we developed an iPad, course, and we printed out, papers and said, if your screen doesn't look like this, go back to the previous page, and then, click, step by step, and did it, and sat with guys. And some of the guys were locked out for 14 days because they put their wrong password in, and Apple's real son of a gun, and it gets you like that. And so we would have to keep some of the iPads in the office, so guys weren't tempted to try to put the wrong password in again. And so at first it was an older crowd, and as we opened up and as we got more established, we started getting the people I don't want to say like our age, because it fluxes from, I'm going to be 40 in December. And then, these guys that are coming in have been from 25 to, 55. So which has really been up and down. But like I said, the most interesting thing that I've seen is the dynamic of like the father and son coming in, or the mother and son coming in, and like being able to, play a game with their kid while also learning about, a benefit that they needed help with, or, going over their VA claim with me. And then, it's those things. And like, we have a wall of resources and other, veteran organizations that, we've vetted and have worked with, that, we're not willing to just send people out to an organization, because even mass benefits advisor. It used to be a complete dead website, and now it's all revamped and it's new again. So it's like you really have to keep an eye on things because so quickly it goes from being live and active to all of a sudden dead link, dead link, dead link. So it's like you gotta stay on top of some of these organizations because a lot of the nonprofits are out there, but they don't really have a task and mission that they're focused on, and they're just trying to be like a general organization. And there's too many of those. There needs to be more. This is my piece of the pie that I'm working on, and this is here. Like another organization that does the gaming, but they bring their gaming mobile is Frost Call.
Oh yeah.
And they're run by a one of the doctors at Home Base Program. And Frost Call, they go to the Boston Veterans Center and they'll set up like a mobile gaming, and they'll have 5 or 6 different gaming stations, and guys will be able to come into the Boston Vet Center and they'll be able to play whatever game. They had a tournament at the Constitution. So the Constitution opened up the museum and the big projection room. They set it up and they used a giant projector, and the guys did a tournament there that evening. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. We got to be there as as like a veteran service organization in between the battles and the games. Guys would come out and talk to the different organizations and learn what we had for them and what we were out there.
Fantastic. Now, do you think this is a piece that, now that you've gone through this and the process, do you think this is a piece that you could pick that somebody else could duplicate in other cities and towns? And
absolutely. I mean, that's what the initial goal of the Haven was going to be. The VFW presents Hellfish Haven, or another local organization, whether it be Homeless for Our Troops, sets up something, or Red Cross make something, or like we really wanted to create like almost like a USO MWR type space for veterans, and that's what we're working with. We're even looking into creating one in Lowell too in the future, because there are so many veterans in the Merrimack County, and there is not really a good place for them there to go and gather. So we're looking with Hidden Battles and the Special Cleaning Foundation to see what's out there, and what we can create out there for them. Because the Boston one happened because we'd known the people at Brighton Marine, and they got us into the office there, and we were able to create. But we do want to be able to reach more veterans, and I would love to share the plan with if somebody's out in Minnesota and wants to create something. I would be happy to mind dump and say, hey, this is what you do, take the ball and run, because like it's not about getting me to do anything. It's about getting the community engaged and to prevent the epidemic of suicide in our community.
Marty, I definitely want to pick your brain after we're done and off the show. There's so many things I want to chat with you about, but another veteran service officer in the city of Braintree just got access to a property that was approved recently to start something similar. So I definitely want to link the two of you up and so we can learn from your experiences and helping the city of Braintree, hopefully.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is creating these places like you said, there's such a stigma, put onto the legions and the VFWs that, it almost became, comically sad, like to see like what was happening, and like so many of them have closed and become paper posts that it's it's really tough. Like my post down in Foxborough was a legion, and we had our building, and the bar was in the basement. It was your stereotypical. There was no toilet. There's just a urinal, and it was like, what are we promoting here by having this? And it's like I try to see if we can move the bar upstairs to the main floor, and I got resistance, and they chose to sell the building instead of.
It's a hard challenge because from young to old, the retirees don't want to go to the senior center, even though there's a huge opportunity, wealth of information. The younger generation definitely isn't going to the senior center. But then in the VFWs and the American Legions, you're right. We have to find a separate avenue that works.
I do. I think, having these events and these, these different things, like I know the Special Playing Foundation, they're going to be doing an event with a couple of, I think it's a band is going to be playing, and then they're going to do a comedy night. So these different things are, going to be out there to be able to engage. Like right now, I feel like it's a lot of everything that's going on is we have to get to guys versus waiting for them to come to us. I feel like a lot of the work is, getting out there. Like you've got veterans like gaming and mental health. They have like a great Discord server where a lot of guys will go. And when I say guys, I mean guys, girls, anybody can go and, establish. And, they've got a little squad that, if you send them a message, somebody will message you back within 4 minutes. So, I mean, these guys are, out there and, they're creating these different spaces, whether it be online or whether it be, a place like Hellfish Haven, brick and mortar.
This is really cool. Well, this is really cool, Michael. This is why we did this. I don't know what's going to happen if Adam, the Braintree VSO, and you link up, but who knows what could happen. Adam, I was thinking, I was at the pancake breakfast that happened a couple weeks ago, right? And maybe next time with a little elbow grease, we have some, VFW, American Legion representation there, so these high school leaders who are working in their leadership programs can meet these older vets and really, understand each other.
That is the challenge.
I know, but I mean, it's just an idea, and
absolutely, I love ideas.
And the good idea fairy gets going sometimes, but definitely,
that's how it starts, Travis.
And then also on the collaborative, if you go ma.vet, they have a calendar of events that are up, whether it's yoga, whether it's the veterans breakfast clubs that are around at the different posts. I know that's one thing that the posts have been doing and establishing is the veterans breakfast clubs and having these weekly coffee hours where guys get together, whether it's at the post or whether it's at another location, and they sit down, they chat, they reconnect, and it's building these mini communities, just to strengthen our social bonds as part of the whole health approach that the VA is working on right now.
That's a lot there. You threw a lot out there. One of the challenges, there's a lot.
Go back and watch the stream. We'll be here next week. This doesn't have to be the last time. That's the best part about it is we're getting this going this year.
You just bring up 2 points, Michael. When I first got to become a veteran service officer, there was a breakfast that was happening at the senior center, and sometimes we had 4 guys that would show up, all retired. So I think the most we had was like 15. That was a big deal. A local restaurant in Abington, Martin's Restaurant, stepped up. They offered the restaurant. Half of the restaurant is kind of divided by the wall, so 38 seats. And they offer the restaurant on the first Wednesday of every month in Abington, and they pay for all the meals for every veteran that walks through the door. And we have a guest speaker from the VA or any veteran benefit organizations. And I wish we could duplicate that because we fill up the seats now. There's not even enough room in this restaurant. I think the owner, Fred Villa, he takes it a step further, and he pays for every single veteran that shows up on the day we hold the hour-long breakfast. So I think the least he's taken care of has been 60 people. So if we can get people out in the community, out to something desirable, maybe that is an idea. Maybe it's a restaurant or some enticing thing in the evenings. It's a great idea, Michael. My mind's spinning.
And that's the biggest thing is just when me and Travis was talking about how to kick this off and how to establish it, we said we want to really have the engagement of other people coming on, and because what good are the things that we do if we're not sharing them? Like because if we're just sitting there and if Hellfish Haven's only doing this, or the other organizations are doing this, we got to work together and like spread it, and that's what we talked about, that this being the grassroots, that we can spread the different whether it's a task or whether it's an event that went well. And like you said, that breakfast sounds like it's a heck of a time. Like,
it's incredible.
Like,
Abington's an amazing community with a lot of supportive people. And the great thing about the restaurant is, he did that to support veterans. Obviously, it's a great way to get some advertisement out there, but the support from the town has been enormous. The VFW and the American Legion stepped in, and they're rotating on a 3-month basis, just giving them more money. He's trying to back it up a little bit. He's like, I'm supposed to be doing this. And then he's having other community, the Hug organization came in, families are coming in, they're just giving him money to give back to the veterans. So now he's, essentially profiting from something. He's trying to do a good thing. And I think if we were able to get that out to other communities, we might be able to replicate that all over and maybe reach a different generation of veterans.
Now, when you guys do the statewide VSO thing, like you guys have the one coming up? Did you guys just have the one in Leominster, or is that coming up?
We do them twice a year, depending on where you are. There's the South Shore, Massachusetts Veteran Service Officers. We meet every Thursday morning, and then all the Veteran Service Officers in Massachusetts meet with the Department of Veteran Services every Wednesday. So we met today. We do a Zoom. So we definitely communicate. But
I feel like that VSO network is like the best, way to just squirrel stuff, and it's better than pigeons. You get it out there, and the message just travels across the state that way.
it is. We find out about organizations like yours, and through thankfully Travis and Oscar Mike Radio. I mean, maybe this has a big part of it, but that's how we find out about these things, through each other, and then we tell everybody, and we take care of veterans. It's incredible. Love it.
I mean, me and Travis, we met for doing a project with our buddy Sean.
Yeah,
and just happened to be, we were both working on the project that either Saturday or Sunday, and then from there it was just like-minded individuals just trying to help. And we see see too much of people stuck on their own, and it's that damn vet pride that that gets us.
I can't stand it when you have, an 85-year-old man who walks in with his wife and not ever applying for disability, and not ever, because of the pride, and because I got it. I don't need help. I don't want to take away from somebody else. I've heard all the wrong answers and wrong responses, but all I got to do is start by going to see the veteran service officer. And there's so many organizations out there that want to help, want to provide resources.
Even a VA claim, guys need to know that they're not taking that money away from someone else. Like
Yes.
they had something happen to them while they were, in service of their country. And, the agreement was, we do this, they'll take care of us. And, that's all it is. It's a simple, the handshake agreement. And, you're not taking money out of, Travis's pocket by, filing a claim for my back, or dealing, with some mental health issues, and getting that taken care of. Like, that is the most important thing, is to get guys involved in the VA, because the one thing that I see study after study on the suicide rates is that it's a higher percentage of people that are not affiliated with the VA, or they're not affiliated with veteran organizations. It's these these guys that are out there lone wolfing it. And that's the hardest part, is is finding these guys and getting a hold of them, and letting them know we're here, and we're not getting that's why I like being able to use the gaming and get out there and touch someone and say, hey, we're here, whenever you're ready, we're still here.
Well, so let me ask you this, because this is one thing that I have experienced personally and heard. There's a thought in our community that because I didn't serve in combat, that I am not, entitled to, I shouldn't say entitled, but I haven't, because I didn't serve in combat, I didn't earn any VA benefit at all except for the GI Bill or whatever. The I shouldn't be, in the VA system, that I shouldn't be doing this or doing that. Even though I got hurt in the Marine Corps, because I didn't serve in combat, I don't really count. Do you all ever run into that?
Oh, you go first, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, personally, I did 3 tours in Iraq, so like I never had that pointed at me, but I've heard guys that I've served with point at other people, and that pisses me the hell off because
Really?
a vet is a vet, regardless of duty station, regardless of MOS, regardless of branch. We all signed under the same contract. We all said the same oath. We all, made the same commitment to our country. It's really shit luck if you wind up, in the middle of the Middle East during, 2 wars that were going on, for 10 years, and then all of a sudden everything dropped, and now it's, only 2 or 3 units that are going through things now, and so now, it's not such a high deployment tempo, and like. You have the rare guys, that were in from, 01 to, 13 that did, 2, 3 tours. But that's just because you became deployment junkies, and it was, it was good money to go overseas and, get that Boston BAH. Because,
Yeah.
but like, for me personally, whenever somebody comes in, I'm not, giving them the rundown on where they were, what they did. To me, they're a vet. They need help. I'm there for them, and if I need help, I hope that they'll be there for me too. And like that's why I like having all these vets be part of the be part of the VA and be know these programs so that they can share stuff with me, and then I can share stuff with them. Like because that's the biggest thing is especially like you look at people like if you were a firefighter on active duty you first get there, you're too green to go overseas and be in the fight, and then after a while now you're the senior guy there. Now you're not going because you're the senior guy, so it just happens to be that the luck of the draw says Mike Geary you're going to go back there 3 times, but another buddy gets stuck stateside being like, what the hell? And it is, we both made the same oath and we both said the same things, and we both served our country, and the pride should be in that, not the extracurriculars. I mean, if you want to beat your chest and be proud that you jumped out of an airplane that was perfectly good, that you didn't need to jump out of, these guys can do that, but we were with the
pride is about serving your country. It's not about what you did or how much of a badass you were or whether you pulled a gun on somebody or not. Every part of the military, we need administrative clerical people. We need to be able to cook meals. We need every piece, and everybody does their part. And it's not always the ones holding the guns who sometimes save lives and make difficult decisions. Filing a VA claim doesn't have to be from being in combat in Afghanistan. People have military sexual trauma claims. You can be in so many different situations that have affected your life, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. No matter what it is, everybody's different. One person may not be able to handle seeing violence the same way as another. It doesn't make it right, wrong, or indifferent. You can file a claim for a car accident that you were in while you're on active duty in the Marine Corps. Even if you were out having fun and you were in the passenger seat. If you were injured or hurt while serving, there should be no reason not to file a claim.
And especially you look at things like the contaminated water from Lejeune and like things like that. Like these people just serving on that base now have these carcinogenics and these poisons in their body and have to deal with these different things just from serving in the U.S. And that's why it's so important to be part of the VA. And like, I'm part of the burn pit, the registry, and like, they're gonna follow me and see what happens with everything, from that. And like right now it's nothing, but later on it'll be something so they can say, all right, and that's what the PACT Act really did. It said, these, what was it, 19 things are, pre-exist, these conditions are automatically,
Presumptive condition.
and like, if you were, over there and you have any of those conditions, it's so important right now to get out, to a VSO, to go to, the DAV, to go to, to find a service rep, and don't pay for one. Do not pay for, someone to help you with a VA claim. Don't get a lawyer. Like, there are so many people out there that get paid to do this and do it for free because they get paid from the DAV, they get paid as a VSO, they get paid from these different organizations, and they have the experience doing it. So just again, I hate seeing guys going, they lose the first 2 years of their VA benefit because they had a lawyer do it instead of somebody that does it for free.
Unfortunately, when you Google, Camp Lejeune contamination water, you're going to see 50 different lawyer sites that are all paid before you find the VA website. So I always look for va.gov when I'm searching anything to make sure it's straight from their VA website. I mean, it lists the first va.gov website when you search for Camp Lejeune contaminated water, lists all the presumptive conditions right there. There's no reason to go to a lawyer who's going to take 40% of your disability for X amount of years when veteran service officers are in every city and town in Massachusetts. You have to be certified by the state. Yes, there are good ones and bad ones, but there's so many avenues that you can go to another one. You can go to DAV. You can ask somebody for help if you're not getting the warm and fuzzy.
Even the Paralyzed Veterans of America, you don't have to be paralyzed to use their service officers to, for assistance. There's a lot of great resources in the state that we're in right now. And,
for VA claims, there's veteran service officers, there's Abington, American Legion, there's American Legion, the VFW. They've got a VFW state officer at the VFW in Brockton. There's DAV. There's so many available resources, free resources that are out there.
And at the JFK building, they've got the the state officers there for the department, and they've got the state service officers, the Purple Heart, and like you walk on the 15th floor, and it's just veteran organization, veteran organization, veteran organization, veteran organization. And there's so much help out there, and like, and then the VSOs are what, on Court Street?
That's New England Center and Home for Veterans on Court Street.
Yeah.
17 Court Street, yeah. And they have resources there to help you if you walk in.
Yeah. So like, for me, for my situation, when I was, dealing with homelessness, like I'd gone over to the shelter in Somerville, and I, cold walked in and, talked to the director, and, he said, hey, go to Court Street. And then I started, walking down to the red line to get on the train to go over there. And all of a sudden one of the staff came running out and said, hey, we got an open bed, come back in. They got me enrolled. And I was there for 9 months before I got my HUD-VASH voucher and was able to, get an apartment on my own. And then from there, I was on HUD for a year and then was able to, come off of it, transition.
It's awesome to hear about. I've used Volunteers of America countless times for their incredible resource, but I've never been able to talk about homelessness. How'd you get to Volunteers of America?
I literally was just looked up like veteran shelter online, and like the Mass Bay Veteran Center had popped up because I was living in the Somerville, Cambridge area at the time, prior to not having a place to live. And then I was just walking around and I was like, where am I going to go? And then I threw it on my phone and like saw that there. And what was really trippy about it was growing up, I wound up going into DSS and was in the same exact building when it was a DSS shelter for kids called Shortstop, back in 1998, 99. And so it was really trippy to live there for a few months in 98, 99. And then all of a sudden in, 2017, 2018 to be back there, and it was weird for a little bit to be like this same exact building. And then what it was, it's just great to see that it's, still in use and that, it is established out there. And, there are, beds for guys, you start out in, a 2-man room with another veteran. You've got, your own wall locker that they give you a lock for. Organizations such as, there's organizations that will donate a book bag and, toiletries and things like that. So like your first day there, you're not just like, up Schitt's Creek, like, they're helping you out and they're working with you. And they've got people that are there that'll, get you, employment opportunities. And like you go to the career center, the one-stop shop, and, you go and you sit and you work with these different organizations. And that's, I think the best part of all of these things is that they have these functionality of being a shelter. And then they also have the employment, and they have the psychiatrist on site, and they have, whether it's, you're dealing with mental health or substance abuse issues or, whatever your trouble is, they're going to help you get on the right path to help yourself. And that's the biggest thing is if you're ready to help yourself, the help is out there.
Absolutely.
You can message me anytime, and, I'll let you know where it is. And, but definitely, definitely be out there and, ready for this, because it was a trip for me to get that, to get to that point in my life. I was a sergeant first class. I had done, I've been medically retired. I should have been set for life, but it took me 6 years to get my my pay correct. And, I started out at 60%, and then I wasn't getting the VA and the Army retirement. I was only getting the VA, and then got the combat related special compensation 6 years later, and finally was able to stand on my own. But it does, it takes a lot to be able to go into a place like that and be like, please help. Like,
Yes, that's the biggest key is being able to ask for help and having the courage.
Well, Michael and Adam, we're at an hour right now. Time is flying by. We just blew through this. A lot of good themes that we touched on tonight. It was good hearing both your stories. And the theme I got the most is you don't have to be alone. And if you put in the action, you put in the effort, it might take a while, but good things can happen.
Absolutely. And like, it really is, it's not always going to be dark. Like, that's the biggest thing that I can say is like, I was down on my face, and like, I was, like I said, in that room 23 hours a day at times. And, it's, you pick at every little thing that you did wrong in your life while you're sitting there by yourself. And like, oh, I should have done this better. I should have done this. But, the best thing is these little cards.
That's right. That's pretty powerful. We do matter. And we are resilient. War. Well, we're going to be back here next Wednesday at 7:00, right, Michael?
Absolutely.
So we'll make another event, ladies and gentlemen. It worked really well having, Adam come in as a panelist, guest, whatever you want to call it. Adam, I want to thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you very much, Adam.
This is just
Thank you for having me, Travis.
Yeah. It's just a real grassroots effort to do something. And, there's a lot being done, a lot of people who serve us and never see the limelight and get their story told. And, we hope to use this as a way to, get the word out there. Because to Michael's point, if we don't share what's going on, then we can't help each other out. All right. Well, we're going to shut it down. Thank you again. You can go to, I've got the links in the chat here, hellfishahaven.org. All the others, this will replay on YouTube, everywhere else. And, we're on track. We are resilient. Now let's go to war. Good night.